class. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. We are going to be doing some quick Valentine's Day card making. So the whole point of this is turning out a bunch of really beautiful handmade Valentines as quickly as we possibly can. So I'm going to show you a couple of different materials that we'll be using. I am using a pretty fancy paper cutter today, so you're welcome to enjoy that paper cutter. But if you have other supplies beyond the ones that I suggested for today's class, please feel free to play along with anything that you have. I know right off that the paper I'm going to be using today, it looks like this. It's 8.5 by 11. It's not actually cardstock. It's more like printer paper is the thickness. And you can get this really nice pack. I think it's only like $6, and it's got a ton of paper, at least 8 different designs and 15 different sheets of each one of those designs. So this is the nice paper pack that I'm going to be working with today. But if you have one of those great 12 by 12 scrapbooking packs, feel free to play along with that. I'm also going to be using a die cut pack. In this die cut pack, I love the color scheme that's going on. I love the treats and the sweets going on for Valentine's Day. So this is kind of the theme that my particular cards today are going to be in, but you can choose whichever die cuts you want. You can choose whatever paper you want. And you can use some different tools than the ones I'm going to show you, but I am going to show off some of my cool tools just in case you want to buy yourself something nice. So let's switch over to my other camera and I'll show you more of what I'm talking about. So on my other screen, we see the paper pack. And like I said, there's lots of good paper in here. I love all the cute little designs. The colors all go so nicely together. You got some solids, you got some mini patterns, you got some larger, more complicated patterns. So we have lots of things to play with in this paper pack. And then we have all of these different die cuts. So these die cuts are also stickers, which means that I can break these. There's a line on the back of each of these that I can break and I can peel off and use them as stickers. But I tend to use die cuts and keep the cardboard backing on them so they're a little bit sturdier. And then when I attach them to a card, I love to use some 3-dimensional foam to kind of pop it off of the card to give it a little bit more extra dimension. And you're going to love how holographic these die cuts are. They really shine. When you shimmer around, you can see all those different rainbows. So there's a cute donut, there's a heart-shaped donut, there's cupcakes, there's cake, there's some sweet on you sentiments. So this pack is adorable. It's very fun to play with. I highly recommend it. And then this is the big paper cutter I was talking about before. So this is from We Are Memory Keepers. And this thing is amazing because if you get something like this, you don't have to buy pre-made cards. You can make your own cards using a bone folder. So in the little slots down here, this particular thing can do so many different fun things. Not only can it cut paper, but it can also score paper. So I'm going to be using this scoring tool, and I'm going to be scoring my own cardboard in order to make the cards, foldable cards, very quickly. Then I'm also going to be using this for paper cutting, and another cool feature I'm going to be using today is that there's a punch on this particular cutting machine too, that you can kind of round out your edges. So for example, you'll see in this Sweet On You card, see how I have that really beautiful, nice rounded edge over there. And I still have my normal straight lines, and straight lines are fine. But if you want to add a little bit of a more elegant touch with that curve at the top, you can do that using the same paper cutter also. So if you don't have this fancy paper cutter, you can still play along. There are still ways for you to still participate. So don't be scared off by that. But use what you have, use your papers that you have, and we will be making some cards together. So if you can't score your own cards, if you don't have any kind of setup to score cards, what you can do is go ahead and buy a pack of folded cards and just have some blank cards. Or if you're not going to mail them, if you just want Valentine's to kind of pass out to people and you don't need them to be greeting cards, you can always just cut a bunch of cardstock or use the pre-made flat cards also that Michael sells. So I'm going to go ahead and take a normal piece of cardstock. This is 8.5 by 11. And on this tool, this little piece comes out and it flips over. So if it has a flat edge, it's ready for cutting. And when I flip it over like this, there's a lip on this side over here that's going to help me to score. And then there's these little grooves that are on the paper cutter that help me with the scoring process also. So what I'm going to do for these cards is I'm going to go ahead and cut them down from 8.5 by 11 to 4 1/4 by 5.5. So since this long side of the paper is 11 inches, I'm going to go to 5.5 inches on my screen. Right here I'm measuring. I'm just going to slide this down. And now I have these two pieces. I'm going to cut a couple because I want to make several cards to show you how quick these are. So I'm just going to go to the 5.5 mark again. And basically I'm cutting cardstock in half. So now the cardstock is 8.5 by 5.5. Maybe one more for good measure. There we go. And now I'm going to move to scoring. So you saw me use this for cutting. Now I'm flipping this over for scoring. It has a lip right here that the paper can kind of butt up against and kind of keep it nice and straight so we can measure. And you saw me pull my little scoring tool out from this little hiding spot down at the bottom. I'm going to take my piece of paper and I'm going to be cutting the 8.5 inches in half. So half of 8.5 inches is 4 1/4. And you can see the measurements at the top in inches. So I'm taking this scoring tool and at 4 1/4, I'm putting my scoring tool into the grooves and I'm pulling it down along those grooves. And I was just giving myself a really nice score. And that score can be folded upon and it makes for a very nice size card. So this is a cool greeting card size. You can get envelopes to match it, but we can quickly score a bunch of these. So I'm putting this up against the lip of the scoring tool. I'm going to 4 1/4 because that's half of the width of our cardstock. And all of these give me beautiful lines to score on. And I'm quickly turning out cards from cardstock. So it's nice to have this tool because then I don't have to buy all the blank cards and I can really kind of save myself some money. And I can create any of these cards using any color of cardstock or craft paper that I want. And I can really kind of personalize my cards by being able to pick different sizes and different types that I might not actually be able to buy. So each one of these measurements is at 4 1/4 of an inch. So 4 1/4 of an inch. I'm putting the tool into a little groove and I'm just pulling along. And this has a really cool, you can hear my finger going across that, has all these grooves that just give that really nice scoring edge. Very clean, very professional. And we've created several different blank cards for us to play with. Now what I like to do is kind of mix and match some background papers. So I'm going to go from scoring back to cutting, which means I'm going to flip this over again. So there's no lip, there's nothing stopping my paper. And then I have the cutting blade over here still. So the weight of the blank cardstock, I believe Felicia just threw that into the chat. Let me see. So I think if you go to that link right above, it'll have the weight of that cardstock. So you can check that out. I don't have the weight right next to me, but I'll see if I can figure that out for you. It's a normal 8.5 by 11 cardstock. It's not super thick or super thin. It's just your pretty typical white cardstock. I want to say 40 pounds, but I could be wrong.
I'm looking and I don't see it,
Yeah.
but I will check again
Yeah.
to
It's
give you
the
the
same
absolute.
as like well, it's a little thicker than a scrap.
Oh, it's 37 pounds. I'm sorry.
The 37 is this paper.
Yes.
And so the white cardstock I know is thicker than that.
Well, let me take a look and
Oh,
I'll let
shoot.
you know.
Yeah. So the white cardstock, we'll try and find that for you. Thank you for asking. But yeah, this design paper is a lot thinner. It's a lot more bendable, pliable, because it's a lot more like printer paper, whereas the cardstock that I'm using is going to be thicker, and so it's not going to bend as easily, which makes for nice blank cards. So this paper cutter is called The Works. It's an all-in-one tool. So not only does it score to make cards, and it cuts, obviously, it does some punching. It'll do some hole punching. It'll do some punching to make rounded edges. And then also on the back of this tool, it has this guide that can help you with envelopes and help you with different things. I know Felicia loves to use this little tool down here at the bottom. You can plug it in, and this can help you make bows. So you can make little ribbon bows and have a nice little bow down here too that you might want to attach to some of your paper crafting. So there are so many different things that you can do with all the tools that come with this particular The Works kit. We have some cute magnets. Let me see if I can grab this out for you. And you can do different measurements. You can cut banners. There's just so many things you can play with. I'm pulling it out wrong.
And make envelopes, any
Yeah,
size envelope.
make your own envelopes for sure. So this tool helps. You can put it into the grooves and you can cut different things or score different things on different angles. It has all the charts and sizes you need to know how to make different size envelopes and little gift tags and things like that, and how to line up your paper in order to give yourself nice angled cuts. So there are tons of things to do with The Works, but today I'm showing you mostly cutting, scoring, and punching. So I'm going to take one of my blank pieces of cardstock that I've now turned into a beautiful greeting card, and I'm going to flip through my paper and kind of decide what I want to work with. I love these hearts, and then I like a solid to go with that. So maybe like this pink or purple solid. I'm going to kind of use these two and play with them on my card. So for the first one, the heart, I'm going to go ahead and make a background that's going to fit onto this card. And remember, my new card is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And so when I cut down my paper, I'm going to trim my paper to 4 inches. So it's going to be 4 inches wide, and I want all my hearts to kind of go in that direction. I just glide it, really nice and easy cut. And then when I'm measuring on this side, I'm going to go ahead and measure a little bit longer than 5, probably about 5 1/4, and see if I like the way that that sits. Now I like to leave kind of that white border around the edge of my cardstock card, but if you want to make yours a little bigger, or if you want to make that border a little bit larger, you can cut down the paper. But it seems like my 5 1/4 length and my 4 inches going across fits really nicely on this size card. So now I'm going to take some Recollections tape runner, and I'm going to run a line of this adhesive. I'm going to lose my scoring tool along this paper. There we go. There we go. And you'll notice that I don't run the whole perimeter. I kind of lift up a couple times, but I do make sure that I always hit the corners and try to keep as close to the edges as I can. And then I'm going to take this paper and I'm going to go ahead and put it centered as best I can on my open card, making sure it's in the correct direction for opening so that it's still going in the direction I want it to when I open. And then I'm going to use a die cut that has, what do I want? Ooh, I love this cupcake. This cupcake is really fun. So I'm going to use this light purple to kind of give me a little breather because the background's so busy too with this cupcake. And I'm going to mount the cupcake onto this lighter lavender color paper. So I'm going to cut this down, I think about 3 inches. So if I'm at 3 inches, let me make sure my cupcake, yeah, my cupcake will fit with plenty of space. I can probably make it a little smaller. So I think if I even go to about 3 3/4. That looks pretty good for the width. And then I'm going to go on to the height of the paper. And 4.5 looks like I have a extra space, so I'll go a little bit down, about 4 1/4. And then that gives me a really nice background for this. And when I mount it onto this paper, it kind of gives you a breather from the busyness of the background to have that solid behind it. And then I'm going to show you how I love to attach these. So first I'm going to go ahead and attach this paper down to the background using my tape runner again. Around, making sure I hit the corners. I'm going to center this as best I can. Love it. And then here's where I'm going to use that adhesive foam. So these are Recollections adhesive foam tabs, and they come in squares and they come in circles. It really doesn't matter which one you have. And I love these because they're pre-cut into several different sizes. So I'm going to use a relatively small size. And I'm going to put a couple of these foam squares onto my cupcake. Some people like to just put one foam square in the middle, but I like to put a couple around the edge to kind of protect it. And these are double-sided, so I'm going to take off the little squares to reveal that adhesive. Oops. So I'm curious if anyone who's watching is going to play along. Do you have some Valentine's card making supplies at your house? Or are you still just kind of looking and getting ideas? So are you going to make some today, or are you just watching? Let me know in the chat. Now that I have those foam pieces, I'm going to attach this. And we have our first of our quick cards. So it has that great popping out. Yeah. It has that great popping out element, and it has a lot of shine with the holographic paper. So here's our first card done really quickly. And now that we kind of know what we're doing, we can just go to town and make a whole bunch more. So let's keep searching through our paper and seeing what other die cuts we want to use, what other sentiments we might want to use. Maybe we're going to use our XOXO. I like this one. I love that holographic feeling. I just love that. So with this one, it's got teal on the lettering. So maybe I'm going to use a little bit of my teal paper to go with this. And then I can also look through my stack, and I have some little tiny hearts, and I have some stripes. So maybe one of those might go well with this too. I have hearts that are pink background, and I have hearts that are purple background. And maybe one of these is going to look nice with this. And we can decide how we want to play with these. So yeah, I like adding those little foam bits too, but once I get going, I just start cutting paper and I just start mixing and matching. Eventually I start getting piles of different sizes of paper, so then I have a whole bunch, and then I can just really start cranking them out. So I'm excited for you to kind of watch and get some ideas, and then hopefully go ahead and make some. Just have a nice little crafting session and make some on your own. So because the width of my card is 4.5, I'm going to go to about 4 inches, and I'm going to cut some background. And about 5 1/4 worked nicely for the card size, but now I have these pieces that I can use interchangeably. And let me cut some of this beautiful teal. So the width of the teal, a little bit more than 5. And then 4 for its width. And 4 for this width. And now I'm just going to have a bunch of pieces to play with. I'm on a cutting spree, so look out. I'm going to cut a couple more pieces, and then I will start showing you some options. And I would love for those of you who are watching to kind of play along and help me make some decisions. So put your good design eyes on. We're going to do some of this together. We're going to make some good decisions about what mixes and matches the best together. And I'll definitely show you more of how to use that punch feature that I was talking about before as well. Let's see, we got this cape, which is adorable. We have our teal. We have our purple hearts. I want to get us a couple more, and then we'll really be ready to play. So maybe a stripe and a red solid to also kind of give us some more options. And all of this prep work just makes for all of the card making even faster once we get going. Love this paper cutter, so smooth. It's really nice. All right, and a little bit of stripe. And I've used the stripe in a couple of different directions. So sometimes I like my stripes going horizontally, and sometimes I like my stripes going vertically. So we can kind of make up our mind later. I cut this one 5 by 5 because we can decide if we want it to be this way or this way, depending on what the rest of our card is going to look like. I'm going to cut another one of those at 5 by 5 so we have that to play with as well. And I think we're ready for our mix and match adventure. So let's see what we can all come up with together. So my idea was to start with this XOXO hologram. I have my white card. So building up from that, let's try a couple of different things and see what we like the best. So this is great, but very simple. So I do like the idea of having another print to go with that. I don't think stripes are going to do us any favors with this cursive writing. I do think that these hearts could be really cute. So we could cut this paper down. We could show off a rounded corner. This might be a good option. We have our hearts again. Kind of gets lost in the hearts, but if we put the teal in front of the hearts like we did for our cupcake, we could do that. I also like this red working with the holograph. So do you think we should use the purple and teal, or do you think we should use the red and the hearts to go with this XOXO? So let me know if you're watching. Do you think I should try it with the blue and the purple, or do you think I should try it with the red and the hearts? So I see a good answer, and I think I'm going to go with it, the purple and teal. Thank you for participating. I think this is going to be cute. So you could do a couple different things. The first thing I'm going to do with this purple is I'm going to show you how to round the corners. So on this, like I said before, there's a punch. Yes, I'm glad that most of you are agreeing. This is a corner punch to make these round corners. So I'm going to go ahead and stick my paper in, and it automatically holds it at this angle because it knows what angle it needs for the punch. I press on this button. I'm going to do it to all 4 corners, and it's making this beautiful punch for me. And I just want to show you what a difference that makes. So see how that rounded corner just looks even nicer than it did before. So this is a really good background. This punch got a little bit off. There we go. So I really like the way that looks. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner and put this background paper down. Thank you for participating. I'm glad that we're on the same page with the purple and teal. I do think this is going to look really nice. Okay. Making sure that my card is in the right direction. I'm going to give it just a tiny bit of white border, not a lot. And you can see those beautiful edges that are around it. And then we have our XO. So I'm going to show you another little trick that I like to do. And like I said before, these are stickers. So you can use them as stickers. I peel it off, right? There we go. Just a little bit right there. And I'm going to peel this part off. And I'm going to attach it here to this paper. And the reason why I'm attaching it to this paper is because now I'm going to kind of go around it, and I'm going to kind of mimic that shape with my scissors. So not super exact, but leaving a similar cutout border around this piece. And you can kind of decide how much of the border you want, and if you need to go back and kind of match it up. But just having that little bit of teal border, I think really is going to help pop that off of the card. And then you can choose to use your adhesive foam and make this pop even further. But I think I even feel like this one is fine to be flat because there's so much dimension going on with the sentiment itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and adhere this one directly to the card without any foam. But you can see how those rounded corners can really elevate your card. And then that little bit of teal just gives you a little breathing room and lets you use that new sentiment. So we're down 2 cards already. You've learned a couple of different skills that we can use with the punches. So we can keep going and keep making and see what happens next. I'm going to flip through some sentiments and some little die cuts, and I want you to kind of help me decide which one we want to work with next. So I think this cake is very fun. We got love. We have like a little heart lollipop. We got conversation hearts, sweet on you, donut heart, happy Valentine's Day, and another donut. So I want you to start thinking about which one you want to try and work with next, but I'm going to go ahead and use the Happy Valentine's Day and show you a card to make with this one. But I do want you to think about which of these other ones you want to see me use and what kind of things we want to play with. So if you have an idea of which one of these, let me know. And in the meantime, I'm going to use this Happy Valentine's Day, and I have my white card. And I think what's going to look cool for this one is to have these stripes. And I do think these stripes are going to look better horizontal than they do vertically, although vertically has its own charm to it. Almost looks like a popcorn container, if you know what I'm talking about. I think I'm going to do this horizontally, and I do think it needs one little bit of something else. So I'm going to use some of the heart paper, but not the purple hearts. I think I'm going to use some of the pink heart and kind of go behind that with another little rectangle. So I'll come back to these, but I hope that you're deciding which one to do next. My Valentine's Day sentiment, I'm going to put a little rectangle behind it. So let me figure out how big I need to make this so that it can be nicely fitting on here. Looks like about 3.5 is going to give me a good rectangle. And then I'm going to cut in the other direction to see how wide this rectangle should be. Probably about 4 1/4. That'll look pretty nice. And then I have my stripes and I have my card. Now this is one of the things I like to do is kind of wait to trim down my paper more exactly until I find my card. So I might cut all the way to this red line down here because I want it to start and end with a red line. So even if it's going to make my card a little bit, make the paper background a little bit shorter, I like to have that symmetry. So I have a line at the bottom and a line at the top. And it looks like I cut into the pink, so I'm going to match that style on the top a little bit better. There we go. Oops, I cut it off. That happens. That's okay, I got a backup. This might just be one of those turns into a brand new design. We'll see. Maybe it is going to go the other direction. I think we can make this work. Yep. All right, so this time I'm going to turn my card this way. I'm going to see which direction I want these stripes to go. I do have this pink background as kind of like an option. So this almost looks a little bit like loose leaf paper. I like that idea. I do kind of like this setup. I kind of wish this line was a little bit thicker, so I might actually use a different paper. I do want it to begin and end with one of the stripes, so I'm going to go back and do that. But I'll save all of these pieces that I'm working with because sometimes you just have the right one sitting around to give you a perfect fit on your card. So I can tell that this isn't going to fit on the end of my card, so I'm going to cut up a little line. It's going to be a little shorter than my background. That's okay. I like this better already. Yep, it makes a difference having those lines at the beginning and the end. Then I can have my rectangle, and then I can have my Valentine's Day. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting these down with my adhesive. I am going to use my foam again. So first I'm going to do the background paper. And we're going to have the thicker line at the top and the thinner line at the bottom. And I didn't do any corner cutting because I think it makes sense for these edges to be straight. And I have this rectangle that I can kind of place nicely on the line so that there's a little white above and a little white below. And then we have our Happy Valentine's Day. And I'm going to use a little bit of that adhesive foam again. We have these great squares that we can just peel off and put around the edges. I'm going to use 4. And they are double-sided. So I'm going to take these squares off so they're ready to use. I see a suggestion in the chat that we're going to try to use the love sentiment next, that die cut. I think that's a good idea. So we can make it for more than just Valentine's Day. You can give it to anybody you love whenever you want to. All right, here we go. Attaching the die cut to the background. And we have another really fun, happy, shiny card. So far we have 3 cards. And now we're going, so we can go even faster. We got a lot of our background pages already cut. We have our cards already made, so we can just keep cranking out more cards. So let's look at what the love looks like. Here it is. It's got pink in it. So there's lots of different options we can use for that one. We have our pink hearts. We also have our cake. Might look nice on that blue cake. Might look nice on our teal background. Let's try out some options. So here is our white card. We have our cake. We have our purple hearts. We have our big hearts. We have some teal. We do still have our stripes. You should see my desk. I just get really into it and then I start throwing things everywhere. So let's think about some of these different options. I think this heart one is calling my name. And even though this has a pink background, I think I might like a pop of solid red with it. So maybe something like this with the solid red. with the heart background, or we can do the red in the background and do the hearts around it. Let's try that. I don't know. I think I like the red with the hearts as the background better. I tend to like to have something a little bit more solid. Let's try it with the teal also. Do you like the teal with the hearts in the background or the red with the hearts in the background? Teal or red? While you're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and attach the hearts. Do you like teal or red? Let me know. I'm going to go ahead and attach this. It looks like I need to cut it down just a little bit. Red. Good choice. Teal. Uh-oh. Now we need a tiebreaker. Go. We got a red and we got a teal. Now I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do. Actually, I do. Oh, we got a red. Okay. So we have the hearts. And let's see, let's cut a rectangle around this. We might want to do what we did with the XO, but I'm not sure yet. And we can round this out. I do like that. You can either make it so that it matches this line and kind of looks like a band. I do actually like that too. So let's go ahead and make this like a band and attach this here so that it's exactly the same width. And then we'll pop this word out. And I do like that one too. So I see Molly and Jacqueline like teal, and guess what? We can do that too, so don't you worry. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and attach band first. And I'll put it right in the middle or just a little bit higher, but I want to kind of see where it falls on the hearts because I might want to put it a little higher so you can see the tops of those hearts, or you can hide some of the hearts. I think maybe here. I want to make sure that it's straight, and I want to make sure that it looks nice on there. Okay, I do want to trim it down just a little bit on the side so that it's not sticking out at all. There we go. Maybe on this side too, just a little bit thinner. There we go. Even it out. Lovely. Go ahead and use my adhesive. And I highly recommend adults still giving out Valentines. I don't think Valentine's Day and giving out Valentines should just be for kids. I think that we should make beautiful things and give them to people too. Maybe it's going to be your post office personnel, your delivery person, your Amazon person, maybe your neighbor, babysitter, friend. Oh, I like that. I'm going to use some adhesive foam on this one. But yeah, give a card to someone, surprise them, make their day. Here's one. I think I'm going to do 3 pieces of foam on this one. There you go. Love. Awesome. We have love. We have Happy Valentine's Day. We have XOXO. We have a cupcake. And we still have some time to do a couple more. So let's take a look at this love one. I think the die cut sets usually come with 2, so I could make this again and put a teal background. Once you kind of see something you like, you can always make a couple of them at the same time. I really like this donut. I don't know why, but that donut calls my name. I also like this sweet on you. Let me show you some of the other cards. You can do a different card size besides the ones that I'm doing. The ones that I'm doing right now work really nice with our 8.5 by 11 stock because it's basically just half a sheet of paper. But if you have a larger size card, here's some more of those same die cuts. So here's one that says love you. Notice the round edges on both of the pieces of paper for this one. Here's a Be Mine, and I broke up the stripes by adding a little bit of a pink background behind it, which I think is fun and gives it more of a three-dimensional look. And then we have our Be Mine sticker. Here's one similar to the one we just did, where I used the stripes going horizontally and have that pink backdrop with the Happy Valentine's Day. Here's one use with the cake. So I used the cake paper in the background, and then I used the solid around the back with the red. Here's one using our conversation hearts, and you'll notice I did a round inside of the heart to make it like a square here, but I did use a straight line going across. I could have rounded both of them, but I liked having the two different types of edges. And then here's one like what we just did where I kind of made it like a band and have these two rectangular teal pieces at the top and the bottom. And I used the heart paper on top of the teal paper to make this one. So these are lots of good options that you could copy, and you can make the same ones and knock them out really quickly. Or you can keep mixing and matching like we've been doing and come up with some more of your own. So I think we have enough time for maybe about one more card that we can make together. So here are some of your options again. You can help me with this one. If you have any questions, let me know in the chat. If not, tomorrow I'll be teaching a very different kind of class. Tomorrow I'll be teaching using these Posca moppers. And these are really cool for like graffiti kind of situations. They dip, they drip, they drizzle, they splat, they do all kinds of cool things. So if you want to check out that class tomorrow, also coming up, I will be teaching an embroidery class where you learn some embroidery stitches to be able to make some of your own conversation hearts. So if you want to keep with the Valentine's theme and you want to come back and make some more crafts with me, you can try that one. So I see the cake and I agree we should definitely end this class on some cake. The
Hey,
cake,
Megan,
yeah, go for it,
you thought
Felicia.
about layering two of those, like maybe the cake and the heart?
Cake and heart. Are you talking about two die cuts?
Uh-huh.
Yes. Yes, for sure. I kind of like, I mean, I love this donut. You can use a love. Let's see, Felicia. We can do all sorts of fun things. Ooh, okay. That's adorable. The little love you,
Oh, that would go great with a heart.
right? You could have two pieces of cake. I
I
like
love,
this,
yes,
right?
yes, right there. There you go.
All right. Felicia has spoken, and I don't even know that we should do anything else besides the teal background. I kind of like this teal. What do you say, Felicia?
I agree.
Yep. Okay, let's do it. But yeah, you could make another card with these two different donuts for sure, too. Donuts and teal. Okay. Could have two donuts. You could also do that same card. All right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and round the corners. So I'm going to punch them. And this also punches the top of envelopes too to make that little nice curve and take your pointy envelopes and turn them into rounded tip envelopes. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put that down. Having a hard time with my tape runner on that jaggedy, the folds of this board, so I had to put it in front of me. All right, let me get this nice straight before I push it down. Looking good. So I want this one to be flat, the cake, and then I am going to pop out the Be Mine so that they're layered. I think that's a great idea. And you can use this as a sticker, so I could have pulled off the back of this, or you can do what I'm doing right now, which is going to adhere the cardboard. I'll put that about here. Love it. Then I need some foam. And I'm going to use one big foam square for this one because I am layering it. Love. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. That cake looks delicious. So in a short amount of time, we were able to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now that I have a bunch of paper cut and I have a bunch of cards made, I can definitely keep going and crank out even more of these. So I think that these are very quick, very easy, and yet nobody is going to have a card quite like this. So this is not store-bought. This is definitely handmade. And this is very special and very beautiful to give to someone else. So I think they're going to love it. And I hope that you make some more of these. And if you do, I hope that you share them on Learn with Michaels. Go ahead and tag us on Instagram at Learn with Michaels. And we would love to show off your work and show it to everyone and reshare them. So feel free to join us again for more crafts. Felicia and I do this on Thursdays and Fridays, all different crafts all the time. We'll be back tomorrow, Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Nope, Central time. And we would love for you to check out any of the other classes that we have on our YouTube channel for Michaels. So thank you for coming today. I had a great time. I hope you did too. And we hope to see you again real soon. Bye, everybody. See you later.